Eddie. Eddie,
I agree. Let's get it fucking over with.
we meet we meet again, and we were talking about how we haven't seen each other this often for a long time, for a very long time.
Right. Now, if you hear the sounds of a screaming baby behind me, that is not my daughter. That is a soundtrack that I play in the background to
It's good.
toughen me emotionally and psychologically. Like in the special forces
Hmm.
trainings, where they play babies
Wow.
crying as they like put them in water that's like freezing cold water at like
Are you
midnight.
the baby, or are you the yeah, what who are you in this metaphor? Because I
Hold on. I am
would
going to go close my door so my mental
Okay, sure.
training sounds don't
Yes,
leak into the.
fair enough. And those cries bring back bring back. Thank you, listeners, for
There we
the
go.
patience. You got yourself a you got yourself a Jack and Coke there?
Yeah, this is a nice coffee. I remember when I used to be on virtual meetings and like virtual classrooms and stuff. Every time someone was about to get up, I remember thinking like, "Oh man, please be wearing pants. Like, please don't have like a giant erection."
Yeah.
That's the
Well,
first thing I thought. I never got scared when a woman sat up. Every time a guy stood up, I'm kind of like, "Oh, please,
oh,
tell me like
flashing.
if you're
Yeah.
if you're like rubbing one out, please
Yeah.
remember that you know that this is virtual. There's a
This
camera in
is
front."
not okay. Well, that could be, unless he didn't like the guy, maybe he would have been fired immediately.
Because you stand up and it's like boom. Oh, actually, it's my stomach.
Right.
It's not my crotch.
Hello.
There we go. So anyway, terrifying,
Anyway, anyway,
absolutely terrifying.
what is the
But
topic for today? I
but
haven't
I
gone.
digress. There was a lot of topics we didn't get to last week,
Yeah, there were. We can get to
like
them.
the economy.
First of all, let's see how we're doing for those listeners who are listening. And I have not had a chance to start the Twitter account or anything useful in terms of marketing, is
I'm
the
sorry,
reality.
you're the what account? I don't know what Twitter
Twitter,
is.
the X account. You know, we
Oh,
got,
X, the social media
I hate
platform
to
that
tell you
has
this.
free speech and has a unbiased
Right.
AI in that it is not woke.
No, it's not at all. And I'm very pleased with that. You know, I hate to tell you this,
Grok
Cal.
is the one that said it was a
My
techno Hitler,
Cal?
right?
You're Cal. I'm Eddie. I'm Cal, you're Eddie. I hate to tell you this, Eddie, which is that we received 30 listens in the past week, which is impressive, actually.
How many stop and deceased, stop
On
and
our
desist?
last episode alone, we received 18 listens. That's a lot. And our episode
Thanks,
beforehand,
mom.
AI Girlfriends and Immigration Angst, received 23. So actually, we're doing fairly well for a show that is just released, I would say. I don't know if these are real. Maybe these are bots. If it's a bot listening, hope you're enjoying it.
Yeah,
If you're
we love
real,
Putin, so please don't target
yeah, if
us
you're
for
real,
stealth killings in
yeah.
the streets of London.
If you're a real person, let us know. I know let us know by leaving us a review
It's a lot to
in
ask
Apple Podcast. Take a moment,
to make
just
people
tell us
prove
what
that
you
they're real
think.
people.
Yeah, it is, but we'd love to know if we're talking to real people. And what do you like and what do you want to hear more of? That's
Mm,
a bigger ask.
mm.
And I wanted you to just come on the show with us for the heck of it. Join us.
Just
This
a
will
kind of
be
random person
join
here.
the podcast before it gets too big and
That'd
before
be
it's too
kind of
popular.
crazy. That'd be kind of awesome, actually. Have like a
Mhm.
random person. And it's not like it's live. There'd be no incentive for this person to come on and be like, Baba Booey, Baba Booey. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
can you imagine that? So this is interesting, right? So my wife is somewhat
Mhm.
popular on social media, and
Mhm.
my wife does
Tell us her name.
live. She does like live videos on like TikTok, I think, or something.
Okay.
Um, I stay out of her existence online. I
Okay.
mean, she says she's married and stuff online, but like I'm not featured in there.
Hmm.
And she knows I really don't want to be like in there. Also, like for me, it's just like, well, that's her hobby. It makes her happy. She does it. It's not her job. She doesn't make money off of it, really. I mean, not really. Um,
As far as you know.
but I stay out of there because I'm like, well, I want it to be her thing, right? Like she needs something that is
Yeah.
just hers because it reinforces the fact that in our relationship we're two independent people. When you
Right.
start creating your partner as part of your identity, then I think you're down the road of like codependence. You do need to
Mhm.
be independent people who come together in the marriage to enjoy being in the marriage, right? So for me,
Mhm.
it's really big that she has her own independent stuff while
Yeah.
balancing
I
that
don't
out.
really believe any of that anymore. I used to believe that stuff, and now I don't. I don't really believe.
Now you're just completely melded together
I
like two
don't even
pieces.
believe in codependence. I think codependence is a word that single people made up to get themselves out of relationships they didn't want to be in. I'm just
I
kidding.
do I do believe this because unlike you, I am divorced. So and I've had a handful of fiancés from a handful of countries.
Hmm.
And so what that
Sounds like
means is
a
that I have
song.
learned a lot about myself,
Okay.
which is like 80% of what a relationship is. Because to me, if you stay in a relationship that's not working for you,
Hmm.
that's your fault. You know, I'm leaving out the extreme cases. Well, you know what? I'll just talk about myself. I think that's a much safer thing to do. If
Hmm.
I'm in a relationship that I don't want to be in, and I have been in a few,
Hmm.
I feel like it's my fault. It feels like, oh, I'm trying to be a nice guy, or I'm too much of a coward. I've sometimes been a coward. I will probably sometimes be a coward.
Hmm.
Uh, but I remember thinking that the key for me to be happy in a relationship, or I should amend that slightly. I think the key for me being happy in romance
Hmm.
is to be able to know myself well enough to know when a relationship is not for me and to be able to leave
Hmm. Yeah.
and have the kind of like self-worth to say like, you know what, I'm actually going to bounce, and not in an acrimonious like fuck you, try to do better than me kind of way. In a very like, oh okay, like this just isn't aligned with my like what I think my life is, so
Hmm.
I'm going to go do something else.
Right.
And it took me a long time to get to a place where I don't feel responsible for other people, including my baby, like grow up. But you
Good
know,
for you.
you're not responsible for how other people feel. You
Don't take
do
any of
have a
that
lot. You do have a
crap
lot
from
to
your
do with
baby.
it, obviously. Yeah, exactly. Because that baby's codependent.
That's right.
Um, well, anyway, so for me, I don't know what people mean when they mean codependence. I always thought codependence was that um, your mental peace, happiness is completely dependent on someone else,
Yeah.
not in a healthy way, in a way that not only reduces your ability to feel happy, but makes you obsessed with what you think the other person thinks and feels,
Yeah.
or what you imagine the other person is.
Right.
And so you lose the ability to regulate your own emotions and your
Hmm.
own peace, your own kind of mental serenity, and you then make the other person this focal point of why you can't be happy. When if you were to make yourself the focal point of why you can't be happy, you would actually find a solution.
Mm.
If you make the other person the focal point of why you can't be happy, then you have completely uh, abstained from being part of the process of changing that situation,
Yeah.
which makes some people very happy to
True.
completely abstain from any responsibility. And
Hmm.
if it's someone else's fault how miserable you are, some people find that very reassuring, and they love being miserable, and they love having this other person that when that little story that the other person is responsible for how bad they feel, when that story starts to fall apart, then they can just poke the other person, and then that person will remind them, oh yeah, like you're, whatever,
Yeah.
you're a
I like it.
miserable piece of shit
Yeah.
and I love you, or whatever it is. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like bringing in another person into your like mental and spiritual like peace, in order to make sure you never are peaceful or serene, and it's all their fault. And this happens in a lot of different ways that I have seen. I think I have seen it, but for me personally, it takes the form of, oh wow, I'm with this person who's amazing, and I put them in a pedestal, and my life is so amazing because I'm with them, and they make me feel so special. I think you can hear what's wrong with that sentence for a person when I say it. Wow, they make me so happy. I don't know what I would ever do if I lost them, right?
Right.
With a romantic partner, that becomes a setup, which is fine. I mean, that's romantic love the way I understood it from Disney
Yeah.
movies and Hollywood. But uh, that's not a really healthy way, or not a way that I'm interested in being in a romantic relationship. So for me, it's like if the other person then breaks up with me, then my happiness, my illusions are completely shattered, and then I am nothing because my identity was built around the relationship and my role in it.
Right.
And that happened to me. That happened to me some years back, and it was a major shakeup, which was beautiful because, as you know, when your ego is destroyed, then what is left is nothing, and then you have to live with that, and then that's when you realize, oh, wait a second, that identity was is completely destroyed. Where did it go? It's not here anymore. But then I'm still here. So what's going on? It really makes you question your reality, this carefully
Yeah.
constructed idea of what the world is and who you are and what your place in it
True.
is. And so it was destroyed, which is it's uncomfortable. It's not, it's not fun. Not, life isn't
Yeah.
always fun, but it changed my life in a, in a very deep kind of spiritual, psychological way, made me completely question who I am and what I want in life. And it set me on a path where I am now happier and more fulfilled than I used to be. I'm not always happy. Having kids and being married and having a mortgage, etc., doesn't always lead to like unbridled laughter and joy. But I feel very engaged with life. I feel alive a lot. Like I just feel like, damn, like life is
Right.
happening right now, and it
Yeah.
feels like, oof, it's like a thrill. When my wife is angry at me because I did something stupid, like today, I tried to convince our son to go down a slide on a hobby horse, and he got hurt. Obviously, which is such a I do
Yeah.
feel like it's a dad move, but okay, fine. Not all dads are like that. I get it, but I am a little bit. And so that wasn't very fun to see him get hurt. He didn't get hurt that badly, thank goodness. But like, I
Mhm.
didn't feel very good about that, and I don't feel very good that I even
Yeah.
attempted
I
to do
mean,
that.
that's the life as a parent is guilt
Yeah.
and then more guilt and then lots of other
And
guilt.
that's the other thing. That like in a romantic partner, I don't think it's healthy for me to feel like, well, I can't live without you. I
No.
After this school shooting in the cathedral, and I saw a picture. I don't know, man. There school shootings happen often in the United States. I know a lot of people try to minimize it by quoting to the statistics, right? Like, well, actually, if you look at it, more people died from motorcycle accidents in Hanoi than children do in the United States in school. But like,
Well, you could come
I
to
have
peace a
kids.
little bit more with a someone died in an accident, which you knew was going to, was it was a possibility. I think then you could psychologically come to peace with some crazy person going in and shooting a family member. I mean, I
I
could
saw.
definitely feel like I could basically like I had
Mm,
a woman I rented a room from years ago, and her son died in a car accident. You say, okay, well, that can happen. But what would made it really painful for her was that he was hunted down by gang members that I guess he had bought some drugs off of them or something like that. I mean, the level of depression and lack of ability to cope that you could see in her for the rest of her life, and that was probably 40 years afterwards, was so heavy you could feel it in the room when she talked about that. So I do think that
so
there are
yeah,
certain
it's
versions of,
different.
yeah.
So like I've learned, right? Like I've kind of thought, oh, my life is about not depending on anyone emotionally or spiritually. Like you can engage with people who uplift you
Mhm.
and without losing sight of the fact that, well, what's happening is that you are getting access to this amazing love and light through another person, and to mistake that person for the actual source of the love and the light that you feel is how you start to lose yourself a little bit. But I just haven't figured it out with kids, man. I just really haven't. I saw a picture of one of the kids that died in that shooting very recently, and I started crying because I just imagined if it was my kid.
Yeah.
And my kid, my 6-year-old, is like happy and lovely and kind and affectionate and amazing. And I look forward to seeing my family every day, including him. And the idea that someone would just shoot him for no
Oh
fucking
yeah.
reason
Yeah.
with
No, it's
with, with,
insane.
a, with an assault rifle. I know
Right.
conservatives don't like to talk about assault rifles. Go, liberals don't know what an assault rifle is. What does that mean? It's a made up word. It means it's something you use
Every word
for
is made up.
like another like group of armed men. It's not.
Yeah.
You wouldn't do that with a 9mm pistol. You would do it with, a longer barreled weapon with an ability to shoot multiple rounds, in an automatic fashion, right? You can call it an automatic rifle if you want, but there are enhancements. It's not just about it being a rifle, right? This isn't like, carbine rifle you might go out and hunt deer with or something. This is different. This is something that's meant to kill people.
Yeah.
And we need that in this world. Maybe, I don't know, probably, but like, I can't imagine that being my kid. I just can't.
Mhm.
And that's when I realized, like, oh shit, if anything happens to my kids, man, I'm just fucked. I
Well,
and it's a story in my head, right? It,
yeah.
it hasn't happened. It's not reality. It's not being here. It's not being present. But I don't know what it is. This I When I hear one of these things, I think about it, and it gets so uh emotional. Like, I just think, like, man, that would be like the worst thing fucking ever. And then I think, okay, well, well, Eddie, where's your emotional and psychological independence then? And I'm
Well, that's like,
still dealing with that
yeah,
as a dad, right? I'm
sure.
like, because I've heard
Or
of
just
couples.
watching, I mean, I'm going to interrupt you in this
No, no, go ahead,
podcast a
man.
lot
Because
because I'm
there's
not.
another way to do it. There's another way to do it.
No, no,
You gotta get there. You gotta get in there, bro. It's
gotta
like me
get
at a
through.
buffet. You gotta get in there.
I was just watching a video about this. We talked about Byron Katie before, and so I'm a big fan of hers.
Mm,
And I just watched a video from her. It was from 2005, an interview. And there's a father who has two kids like us, and he's asking her, "I can't imagine if my child would die, what I would do with that." And I think they went. I can't exactly remember what she said, but the idea and the conclusion as she kind of got to it was interesting because she said, "Well, it's interesting if you were to believe that thought. Let's say you do lose your child." And then you spend all of your time now focused on the loss of this child and you say this should not have happened, this is a terrible thing, this is the thought, this is a terrible thing what happened, what does that do to the rest of the family? And I thought it was an interesting point because people, I've seen this happen where I you know we have a friend of a friend, one of their children died, the younger child is now dealing with major mental health issues, and this is maybe 10 years on or something like that. And I don't know the situation enough to know what happened. I'm sure having your older brother or sister die would be a huge effect on you, make a big effect on you psychologically. But also, I do wonder what effect it is as a younger child to see your parents
yeah.
go through that grief. And so the thought, this should never have happened, this is a terrible thing, if it's believed so strongly and attached to so strongly, what impact does that have on the child that's left? And do you
Mm,
do you cause some new harm by being so attached to the fact that this should never have happened? If you look at this, if you look at Stoicism, there's a fair amount of stuff about what would happen if your wife dies, if your child dies. And I think that they could write those things. We can't write those things now. If you write a blog post, no one's going to write about that topic very much unless they've been through it. But if you're back in those days, it was so common to lose children and family members. That's why you
mm,
had 5 or 10 of them, because chances
right.
are you're going to lose a few. That it became something where it was more like, oh, this is part of life. And I think we're so far away from it now that we have such a low mortality rate for child mortality and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Someone was even saying the other day, like, interesting, and I thought this was a very good point about vaccines. Actually, they said you used to go to cemeteries a couple hundred years ago, and what you don't. He's like, what you don't see very much of now is
Mm,
child graves. He's like, you used to go to cemeteries, and a good portion of those gravestones were children. And we just don't see that anymore. And we don't even have ability to relate to that anymore, thanks to vaccines, thanks to other kind of ways that they've been able to reduce antibiotics. And so it is interesting to see, and I don't say this with any smugness. I actually had an incident with my children where they had an accident. It was something we just didn't see coming, and it was, thankfully they were okay. They fell from a high place near in our house. And so I will say to anyone who's a parent, please lock your windows. So they fell from a second story window at the same
wow.
time, both of them, because they were both playing at the same time. And they fell. And this is the part that I just when I think about this, is as close as I've gotten to losing both my kids, is that they fell onto a pad of dirt that was only a foot or two away from a pad of concrete. And had they fallen on the concrete instead of the dirt, I don't know what I one of them could have died, one of them could have been so injured.
Disabled
Yeah,
for the rest of
disabled, exactly. I had just, and this is the part that drives me crazy. About a month before this happened, I was doing my dad work around the house, and I thought to myself, I needed to take this trailer that we have, this kind of crappy trailer, out of the garage and figure out where to put it. And the place I had decided I was going to put it was right underneath that window that they fell out of. And it had been on my mind for months, like, I got to get it to that. I just got to get to that. I got to put that trailer underneath that. And if they had fallen onto that trailer, it would have been like falling onto like basically a piece of vertical wood. Right, they would have fallen right in the middle of their bodies onto this terribly sharp, poignant 2 foot like vertical piece of trailer, side of a trailer. And who knows what damage that would have done to their bodies. Nothing
it.
happened like that. They fell onto a piece of 6x6 dirt and had some bruises, and we took them to the ER, and they had they had x-rays done, and they were fine. And it was just
Wow.
like I've never felt more faith and gratitude for God that night than I'd ever felt, because it was just coming face to face with losing both my children in one night. And anyway, now I lock all the windows.
Yeah.
We had basically opened all the windows because it was hot. It was the beginning of summer. So if you're a parent and you're living on a second floor, any kind of floor, and you guys are going to be in a high rise, please make sure all balconies and windows are fairly secure, especially as your kids get older. I'm just saying that to everyone who's listening, because you never know with this stuff. But I will say that it's very humbling to have those kind of close calls, and parents usually have stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, I agree. It's like, it makes it's very powerful. But at the same time, I think the goal should be in life with all this stuff is to hope that doesn't happen and pray for that doesn't happen. But at the
Yeah.
same time, have a sense of how can we move with things that are difficult? How do we process things that are difficult? And I don't know. I'm
Well,
not.
this is interesting because what I'm kind of thinking and feeling in this moment is like, our conversations, um, there are things that we might be very knowledgeable about. Experts, I don't know,
Yeah.
but there's stuff that the two of us, very knowledgeable about from our experiences. And what we're not knowledgeable about, well,
Yeah.
I don't know how much I don't know how much what we think and feel about stuff matters. But that's why I think these conversations, where we decided to kind of upload them, is because I think they're useful if, we don't have experts on here. We don't have a
Yeah. Yeah.
grief counselor for parents or for
No.
times when children have died, and we don't have someone on here who lost their child. But what we have is two parents. In my case, yeah, I mean, my son fell from a wall that was a foot and a half high. It was after he
Mhm.
just got done playing in the playground doing all this really dangerous
Right.
stuff. On the way back home, he falls off this really low parapet thing and he breaks his arm.
Yeah. Well,
We were in our house and he was just fucking around on the couch. We told him,
mm,
"Hey man, stop fucking around on the couch." So he sits down and he just kind of slides off the couch back and forth. And one of the times he loses balance, falls forward, and
ah,
cracks his
ouch.
fucking nose on the coffee table
Oh my
corner of the
gosh.
another emergency room visit right there.
Yeah.
Um, so anytime your child, I mean, every time my child has gotten hurt, I have
Sure.
gotten, yeah, it just raised all the, emotional,
Sure.
psychological alarms in my head.
Yeah.
And, your mind goes to like the worst
Totally.
places. And then at the end, in our case, it was, okay, well, it's just a broken arm. And
Hmm.
he only felt pain for like the first part of it.
Sure.
And it's a massive relief. And then it's like vigilance, and then it
Yeah.
kind of wears off. and
Oh, it
now,
does. Yeah. Yeah.
and now
Exactly.
I put him on a hobby horse on top of a slide this morning,
Yeah.
and my wife was super pissed at me, and for good
Yeah.
reason, because she doesn't remember, she doesn't forget any of that stuff. She sends
Right.
me videos, she sends me Instagram reels all the time of like these like security cameras catching a baby stroller
Oh,
rolling
those are the
backwards.
worst, right? I don't know. They seem to proliferate where I've seen so many of them now where I'm just
Yeah.
like
Yep.
they just cause like,
Well,
oh my God, terrible.
this is what's happening in my wife's brain
Yeah.
all the time. That's why my wife is like, don't let him eat that. Don't let him go there. Put your socks on.
Oh,
Put,
sure.
you know, I mean, she had a friend in Guatemala who died of dengue.
Oh yeah.
The
Oh
kid,
yeah.
the
Wow.
9 year old, 9 years old, man,
Ouch.
a fucking 9 year old dying of dengue
Mm.
fever in Guatemala. By the way, there's nothing you can do about dengue. By the way, there's no like
Yeah. There's no
magical shot
vaccine.
that you can take. It's
Do you
massively
have
fucked up.
dengue where you are? I think,
Yes, there's
yeah,
dengue
yeah.
here
So
in
you have
certain
to
parts
kind
of
of wear,
Indonesia.
I guess you have to wear, it's not where you are exactly. Is in the city very
There's
often?
in parts it can happen here, and I
Got it.
asked our doctor about like what do we
Yeah,
do because this is terrifying
it
because
is.
we know
When
people
I
who
was
have
in
lost
Thailand,
it.
all I thought about was to go
And you
spray
know what
myself
the
all the
doctor told
time.
us? Well, insect repellent because it's mosquito borne,
Exactly.
and if you hear of like a dengue outbreak in your area, then kind of like isolate and do insect repellent. And I'm like, that's it? Like
There's not much.
really? Like there are
Yeah,
kids dying of dengue right now because
yeah, yeah.
we've done nothing about it. To me,
Right,
it's one of those moments where like my imagination of what the world is and what the
right.
world really is like so
Yeah,
vastly different and it's disappointing.
sure.
I don't know because of all the movies we watch, or I just generally not so much anymore, but used to have this sense that like we have conquered
Sure.
history and
Yeah,
death,
yeah,
and but we really haven't. It's just like this
yeah,
illusion,
yeah.
and it's
We conquered a
parents.
lot, but it's not, but there's a
That's
lot
it.
still to
It's
go.
like when a parent has a kid with autism, and they're like, "Oh, look at all these vaccines we got to give our kids." It's like it's the parents who bear the burden of the
Sure.
worst possible thing that can happen.
Yeah,
I'm not necessarily autism, but like, yeah, having a child who is neurodivergent or on the spectrum now means that that kids and your life will be much different, and maybe different than what you imagined it being.
yeah,
And so then it becomes like this thing you have to live with. Uh, Plenty of people are neurodivergent. I don't even know if we've defined very well
right.
what makes someone neurodivergent. I've heard descriptions of characteristics. I've met people who have told me they're on the spectrum as adults,
Yeah.
and you know,
I mean, I have a friend whose daughter was just diagnosed with autism, and it's interesting because she's a very I've interacted with her enough times. She's very bubbly, very happy, very talkative. So all the things that I might have thought were what autism means, I would never have guessed. Now that living with her though, she's on the spectrum, so it's like you say, there's different levels of it,
it
and
just feels like it's become a catch-all for a lot of different things.
yeah,
And I'm not, that's not a criticism. It's not like, oh, there's a movement out there to
sure,
create autism where it doesn't exist. It's just this happens a lot in phases of when humans are charting new
yeah,
conditions that we
yeah,
have. We,
hmm,
especially psychologically, I don't think Western
right,
medicine is a great
right,
model or a great grip on just the human psyche and what it means to be mentally healthy.
hmm,
I think certain parts of our lives require us to be delusional.
hmm,
Um, a big part of our lives require us to never think about the fact that we're going to die one day. A big part of our lives require us to think in the, those of us who are from the first world. I don't live in the first world now, but I am from the first world and I enjoy first world luxuries. I'm in an air conditioned space right now. My apartment is air conditioned all of the time. I take an air conditioned SUV to work and back, and I travel around in this air conditioned SUV with a driver. I eat processed foods, and the processed foods not great for your body,
like
but it's also not great for the environment because it all comes in packaging, and these factories that make that food, they're kind of
like
they're
Hungry Man
modeled.
dinners. What are we talking?
Well, I used
Stouffer's.
to once upon a time I worked on process automation stuff, and I
Yeah,
used to go into these factories, like
yeah,
Procter and Gamble factories,
sure.
steel factories. I used to go into mines where they extract like calcium and nickel deposits. What else? Goodyear plants tire
Yeah,
rubber, but not
yeah.
just Goodyear. I mean, not that brand, but all kinds of different
All those
tire
kinds of
brands.
tires. Okay.
and cheese factories and like
Wonderful.
yogurt and milk and packaged processed food, bread, donuts. I mean, you name it, anything that uses factory automation. I used to go into those types of factories to help sell our like automation stuff.
Hmm.
And I always thought to myself, like, just all the things that keep this world going from a first world perspective,
Yeah.
right? Like that we just don't understand the
Right.
specialization of the different roles of what it takes to be a human.
Good point.
That more than 8 billion people on this planet. That's how we can have so many people,
Yeah.
is these giant factories
Right.
rearranging matter on our planet, and we're changing it so fast in the air, in the water. To me, you don't have to get historically emotional about like, oh, we are destroying the planet. We're not destroying the planet. We are rearranging the chemical physical
Yeah.
makeup of this
Yeah.
planet to a point where it will no longer be habitable by humans. That's what we're
True.
doing, right?
Yeah, that's a good point. We're
And
not
so, like,
taking matter from another planet and dumping it on here. We are
I mean,
taking
kind
stuff
of a
out of
little
the
bit, but
planet.
not in significant amounts. Not
Yeah.
yet. That is the plan, by the way. It's asteroid farming is next.
Yes, I
Asteroid
hope
mining,
so.
I should say.
I hope
But
so.
yeah, I mean, everything on this planet came from space,
Yeah.
basically.
But let's
Uh,
get back to
that's a good point.
let
Thank you very much. Let me get back to this thing about
me
being,
bring you back
thing
to
about being
relationships
this thing about being a parent. About like,
or yeah.
you and I have not lost a child, thank God, yet. We haven't had that experience. We can only talk about the experiences we have had. So I talk about the experiences of, wow, as a parent, seeing a school shooting, imagining that's your kid, your vibrant, fun, loving, innocent, beautiful child,
Yes.
not coming back anymore. And I can't imagine the grief of the parents. I can't imagine what
Sure.
it's like. And it's funny because then I think, oh man, what do I do with these feelings? But just talking to you right now, I just realized like, well, that's what comes from not being here and now. And I don't mean that in an annoying gotcha, not being present bullshit way that I think both of us have experienced by living in Southern California. Everyone's playing
Hmm.
spiritual gotcha.
Right.
Or you use the word should, and I think when you use the word should, you end up creating like separate realities that really take you out of the present. So
Yeah.
like, I'm just gonna ask you to maybe like stop using the word should, and
Thankfully, I
it
didn't meet. I never hung around enough of those. I mean, I was in those
Alan
circles.
Watts had a thing about the word should, but he always
Yeah,
see this is what
he
made
was
Alan
cool
Watts
though.
really great. He had
Yeah.
such his grasp on the Eastern philosophy that he would describe for Westerners all the time was so complete that he applied it to himself in his recordings. And these are like not like some guy sitting down with a pair of headphones. This is him being recorded at some
Amazing, man.
university's like symposium or something,
Yeah.
and he's just totally gnarly, potentially high, and just talking about like, I just said the word should, and I'm just realizing right now that when I use the word should, I'm acting as if I'm telling you what to do. I think I will start using I'm going to start using the word like what I'm interested in, and say, because I'm
Hmm.
really interested in, I'm really interested in the fact that if I do use the word should, I create these realities and the scaffolding that get me further away from the thing I'm trying to talk about and think about. And I'm kind of like, oh, that's kind of interesting. He calls himself out,
Yeah.
and it doesn't feel annoying. He's a very charming guy, also because he might be potentially high during most of these recordings. But I just realized that like me, this happens to me all the time. I feel bad about something that does not exist. My
Sure.
kids are over there right now in the other room. They're perfectly healthy and happy, and I get to see them all the time. I could see them
Hmm.
right now if I weren't talking to you. And
Yeah.
and when we're done talking, I'm gonna go out there. I'm gonna see them, and it's gonna make me super happy. I'm still at the point where when I see my kids, I am so happy. I do occasionally get miffed that they've done something that I don't think they should do, but then because my wife is so patient and kind, she helps bring me back to
Hmm.
this place of like, oh wow, what a lucky thing to have
Yeah.
these children. And then it's funny because that happiness almost sometimes brings me back to the like, what if they weren't here, which is
True.
interesting, right? Because they are here though. So
Yeah.
getting stressed or upset or prematurely
Hmm.
depressed about something that doesn't exist is kind of like a funny thing. I do it.
Yeah.
I think other people do it sometimes. And to the extent that we can grapple with that, what a great problem to have. I can't
Hmm.
appreciate how great things are. What a
Yeah.
great thing to be
Well, there's
able to
always
talk.
something to be grateful for. I was just listening to there's this guy who's made the rounds. I can't remember his name. Something Sexton. He's a divorce lawyer that's like popular now.
Oh,
He's like a good looking guy. He's probably in his 50s, and he kind of there's a depth to him that I appreciate. And he kind of calls out, he's worked with a lot of clients that are terrible to each other. And then he's seen the good, he's like, then there's good couples that I've worked with. So anyway, I find him interesting. And he
oh,
was
I think he's
talking,
giving advice on like what makes a good marriage, and he's like a
yep,
divorce lawyer, right? Because
yeah,
he hasn't seen a
exactly.
lot of really great working ones.
Yes,
He's like, oh hey, this is what really the ones that end look like. So
exactly.
maybe a good one is the opposite of this.
No, totally, exactly. You are right. I'll think of his name. So I may have had it's James Sexton.
Oh,
So he had a he had a little video about and mentioned an old book by Thich Nhat Hanh, which I used to really appreciate.
oh yeah,
The Buddhist.
Holy Buddha, Holy Christ, right?
Yeah, there you go.
I think you gave me
Vietnamese
that
Buddhist.
book
I
when
probably did. Yeah, I was really into it back in the day.
we were at uni.
At uni, and
Yeah,
he talks
sorry.
about a part in one of these books where he says when you're hugging someone, try a meditation or a practice would be to imagine this is the last time you're hugging them, that you're going to die or they're going to die, and that's the last moment you're going to hug them. And he said, that sounds very morbid, but the truth is, if we had a little bit more of that, and we hugged our children, or we hugged our dog, or we hugged our friend, or our wife, husband, with a little bit more of thoughtful, like this is a big deal. I get to right now hug them.
Hmm.
That would be, and so the practice does seem a little bit morbid because you're imagining their death,
Right.
I guess. And that's a little intense. I don't know if I could do that
But
with my,
that's but to me
but
that's just but to me that's like a back way of entering the space
yeah,
of wow, I really treasure this person.
yeah,
Because it's hard to get there sometimes when you see them all the time.
mm-hmm.
Like, you know what I mean? I
Absolutely.
think
Take it for granted.
I I once had an electrical engineering professor. You know, most of them were not profound. Most of them, I think, were just happy to be in this country legally. Anyway,
Many are.
especially at my school, where it was just kind of like,
Yes.
it's like, I used to be an engineer in Iran, and it's kind of like,
Right.
okay, well, I mean, they do more with less, so God bless them, those engineers. But he wasn't this guy. That guy was not in the game of giving advice other than you suck. He wouldn't put it that way because like his English as a second language did not incorporate that. When he told people they sucked, it'd be like, hey, buddy, I think you should not be in engineering. Just like that.
They
Like,
demoralize you.
and the funny thing was like I
I
could tell
appreciate
he
that.
thought he was being kind, not
Yeah.
just to get you away from something you'll never be good at. I think
Yeah.
he thought the like verbal formulation was deeply kind and
That's cool.
insightful. Like, hey, buddy,
As I
dude,
get older, I kind of appreciate that now. Like he
he
wasn't trying
did
to blow
this.
smoke up anyone's ass.
He sometimes did this in the middle of class, by the way.
Wow.
If you like, you talk about being afraid to ask a question. If you said or asked something that was like just so completely blatantly wrong, he would do that. He'd be like, you know, this answer is I don't think you kind of like he had like these papers in his hands and the other hand he had like a chalk. You kind of like cross his hands in front of him and be like, and he'd be like he's only talking to you even though there's like 30 other people in the room, and just say like, buddy, I just this answer I don't think that you I don't think this is for you. The worst part was it wasn't even that mean.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
It sounds actually
Anyway,
quite.
his house burnt down once, and I remember many students celebrated that. There was this one student in particular. She was actually like pretty giddy about it because her house had burned down, and
Oh,
she missed the final. And she came to him before the
oh,
final
funny. All right.
and
Well, there
said
you go.
like,
Karma.
"Hey, I won't be able to make the final." And he's like, "Why not?" He's like, "Well, my house burned down," and he said something to the effect of like, "But you're here now.
Yeah. What's the big
What
deal?
right? Like
Get to
you
work.
came here to tell me you can't take the final
Yeah,
that
yeah.
is in a week because your house burned down a few days ago, but you're here, so obviously you can
Oh,
come to the final."
wow.
And then his house burned down, and she was fucking over the moon. It was
That's hilarious.
anyway. But I digress. I had an engineering teacher who once told me, and if you take away the creepiness of the statement, he said human beings are basically just analog differentiating devices. And what that means is there's like there's an electrical component called an operational amplifier, and you give it a signal and it will either amplify or make smaller a signal. So you give it 5 volts and it'll give you back 25. You give it 5 and it might give you 2.5, right? It's either making it bigger or stronger, but the way the signal you gave it goes up and down. Maybe it's you singing. You go high, you go low, or
Mhm.
it'll get that and it'll just amplify the highs and the lows, and it'll get what you gave it and stretch it out, or it will shrink it. But it's always tracking the thing you gave it.
Mm.
And the way it does this is it compares it to something else, and it uses that comparison. It's the difference between these two things, because it's a differential. Okay, well, I'm thinking I'm losing myself in the metaphor here, but basically, it gets the difference between two things. Not all of them do this, but this is like one of the main things it does. It gets a difference between two things, and then amplifies it or it shrinks
Yeah.
it. And so humans, to a certain extent, you sense something with your eyes, your skin, your nose, right? Your taste, your ears. You sense something, and your body works very, very hard to either attenuate or amplify the difference. So I'll give
Mm.
you an example. And now this is where I think it's useful for normal people is you are outside and then you walk into your house and then someone in your house has been cooking salmon. You walk into the room and it's like, oh shit, you get hit by like a wall of fish smell. And it's like, ugh, what is that? And the person in there is just cooking and they don't smell it. It's like, what do you mean?
Mhm.
Does it smell like salmon in here? And you're like, yeah, it smells like a salmon orgy, and then the
Mhm.
place caught on fire and now they're all being cooked in salmon filth is the
Mhm.
smell. But then once you're in there for 10 minutes, what does your body do? Your body gets that level of smell, gets that smell, and then makes that the new normal.
Right.
And your body's like, oh, okay. The difference between the smell you just walked into and the smell we were just in was huge. I'm going to get that difference and I'm going to make it tiny until the point where it disappears. That's why when you cut garlic and you smell like garlic, and someone else walks in who wasn't doing that, it smells like garlic to them and doesn't smell like garlic to you.
Mhm.
Your body is this little machine that helps you get rid of those differences so you don't have such a bad time all the time. And so I feel like it does this emotionally, like when things are really great and you're getting everything you really want in life, and you're so fulfilled, your body's like, okay, well, this is the new normal then. This is the garlic smell
Mhm.
that you can't smell it anymore. And someone walks in on your life and they're like, holy shit, your life is a fucking amazing. My kids died. My wife
Mhm.
divorced me.
My
I
house
live in
burned
the
down.
street on a piece of cardboard. You have this amazing house. Your wife loves you. You love your wife. Your kids are amazing. And to you, it's a garlic smell. And you've been cutting garlic for
Yeah.
30 minutes. You're
Mhm.
like, oh, I don't even notice anymore how amazing my life is.
Right.
And I think everyone has a version of that. Everyone's different. I don't know. But I notice that I do that. I get used to things being amazing.
Yeah.
And then it builds complacency. Since I will divulge, right, that I got married later in life than a lot of people. I got married in my 40s. I have been through quite a few relationships, not like a ton, not like Wilt Chamberlain. It's not like something to brag about. It's like I've been engaged to be married a handful of times from people with a lot of accents. Anyway, so
Mhm.
I have found in my life in this like I don't know middle later part of life, I didn't have kids before. I didn't have like a mortgage. I wasn't settled down. I didn't have a family. I didn't think I ever would want one. But then I just stumbled upon the opportunity to have it. And every single time it got a little further, it just felt more and more amazing to me. And I never got used to it. And I still haven't gotten used to it. It's been a
Mhm.
few years. And I will be in bed looking at my wife with our 3-month-old baby. And I'm dead tired, no sleep. And then I'm just like, I've done this. I've told her, like, I can't believe we're married. I can't believe
Mhm.
we have a baby. I can't believe we have a 6-year-old sleeping next to
Mm.
us and that I get to see you guys every day. And then I come home from work and I see them the first thing when I come in. And it's amazing to me. I feel like I'm living in a dream.
Right.
And I think, I mean, even this conversation helps me realize like, you don't have to get used to it if you're consciously bringing your attention to it. And that's what
Right.
I think the hugging thing that you
That's a
mentioned
good
was, I
point.
mean, to come back to that, when you hug someone and you act as if it's the last time you'll ever do it,
Yes.
you could make it not morbid, but people need the jolt. They need the wake up call,
Yeah.
right?
Good
Most
point.
people who are not consciously paying attention to something, not living intentionally in that one little moment, people need the jolt. But if you don't need the jolt, another way to do it is hug them as if it was the first time you've ever hugged them.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. I mean, that's a non-morbid version of this, but he's a
Mm,
divorce lawyer and he's probably been around a lot of people who are very busy up here in their
yeah,
brains. They
yeah.
need the wake-up call.
Good point.
So, but to me, I think that's amazing advice. I think it really
Yeah.
is. And you helped, once again, this is why I love talking to you.
Uh,
You've helped bring back my attention to this
I
idea
watch a lot of
that,
good reels, you know. Um,
oh yes,
that's
most
why
of my
I'm so
therapy,
wise.
the
Yeah,
therapy I can afford is via Instagram.
exactly. To your point, I mean, I went into Walmart today to pick up a few groceries, and as I was getting the cart, there's a Subway in the Walmart, and I look over through the window, the inside window, and I see a guy. I mean, it looks like his late 20s, early 30s. He's holding a baby, and he's got a bunch of stuff. I don't know, like it just looked like he was struggling. He's got a bunch of like stuff that, not just groceries, but like personal stuff and things. And I was like, this guy looks
Plastic
like
bags full of
yeah, it
personal.
looked like he was kind of like him and his wife were a bit nomadic. They were having a Subway. They didn't look like they were homeless, but they were like, there was a struggling look to them. And I just thought,
Yeah,
you know, I was in my mind before that. I was very like, oh, what am I going to do about this? What am I going to do that? Worried about this and that. And I did look at him and think that, oh yeah, I don't have it so bad. And I'm not, celebrating that he's got it harder, but at the same time, I should at least be a thoughtful and aware and not just like, it's very easy to get into your own your own dimension uh
yeah,
of just it's like a closed world. It's like if you ever seen Enter the Dragon, where he's in that room of mirrors and he sees himself
yeah.
everywhere. And it's sort of like that you can really get into that where you really just see only yourself and only your problems and only your situation and forget that there's a bigger picture out there and
You
that you're really
mean the
lucky.
scene where Brandon Lee playing
Oh,
Bruce Lee has an emotional visit with the ghosts of his ancestors while the character he is playing is filming one of the final scenes from the hit kung fu movie Game of Death?
I have no
And
idea
he
what you're
suddenly
talking
has his realizations about
about.
his entire past and
Huh.
his family, and he comes to an inner peace with himself right before dying under mysterious circumstances.
Is this The
Yes,
Crow? Wait, no, what is this?
yes, Kay, I am. Oh no, wait, he's played by Jason Scott Lee. I'm sorry. Hey, if you're out there and listening and you're Asian, I'm not a racist person.
And so anyway, are you trying to say that this was the movie about Bruce Lee, like the Bruce Lee
Yeah,
story?
Dragon. Dragon is like a
Dragon?
fictionalized, dramatized
That
account
actor
of
died playing that part?
Jason Scott Lee.
Yeah.
No, no, no. Brandon Lee, his son, Bruce Lee's son,
Yeah.
Brandon Lee, died playing the Crow.
Yes. I remember that part.
Jason Scott Lee
Uh-huh.
is an actor who played Bruce Lee in this movie. Jason Scott Lee, actually,
Did
this is
he
great.
live?
I
My question is, did Brandon Scott Lee or does the actor playing Bruce Lee live or die?
you're conflating Lees.
Okay.
Um, yeah, yeah,
I
but this is
often
great.
do
This is
that.
what a great segue
Yeah,
into
good
something
point.
I've always wanted to do on this particular conversation thing. Hey, our artificial
Oh yeah,
intelligence
please do.
companion, how is Jason Scott Lee doing? Is he okay? Something went wrong. Okay, well,
Apparently not
okay.
that
I
good.
mean, I like to think that the ghost that killed Bruce Lee, according to this movie, is real. But you tell me, artificial intelligence, is Jason Scott Lee okay? How is he doing?
Uh-oh.
Wow. You know what?
Nothing.
It keeps telling me that something went wrong.
Something went
I
wrong.
don't want to delve into conspiracy
Yeah,
theories.
I think the
But
ghost
is
is
that a
here with us.
coincidence? Also, do we know where that samurai monster is that killed him at the end
Oh,
of that
good point.
movie?
Yeah, good point.
I'm gonna give it one last shot. This is the proof conspiracy theories aren't true. How is Jason Scott Lee, the actor, doing? Is he okay? What? Okay, well, I didn't do it
I
again.
have to
You know
say
what?
something about this movie, Dragon, because in the 90s, when this movie came out, what was it, 91, 92? I don't know. I went to see it with a friend, and I loved it. I thought it was an incredible movie. I was
Yeah,
inspired by it.
it was formational. It was
Yeah,
formational to my childhood.
formational, right? So anyway, fast forward about 20 years, and I think to myself, it'd be fun to watch this movie again. And I'm married now. I said, let's watch this old movie about Bruce Lee. My wife is into, martial arts.
Oh, okay.
She's an actual martial artist and like me. And so I think, oh, you'll like this movie about Bruce Lee. Famous. She liked Bruce Lee. She knew who he was.
Yep.
This was an unbearably difficult movie to watch.
What?
And
Is it the racism?
no, not even the racism, just the corniness. We are watching this movie, and there's a whole scene at the beginning where he's working in San Francisco Chinatown, and
Yeah.
these cooks try to kill him or something. It's the stupidest
Yeah.
scene. And they're throwing knives at him, and he's up on a wire. And she was just like, what the hell is this stupid movie? This is not real. This is like a fake bullshit scene. And I was like, you're right. This isn't real. This is like a dramatized nonsense. Like you should try
Yeah.
to watch this movie. It's not as easy to watch as you might have remembered. Unless you're by yourself. I challenge you to show this to somebody who's never seen it and they'll be like, this is garbage. This is a garbage movie. Because back
I
in the
have.
90s when they made biographies, they could make him in the style of like Forrest
Yeah.
Gump, and it would
Yes.
be everyone would be like, great, this is great, and you can't do that anymore.
Yeah. You don't believe in a magic world? Okay, first of all, I don't know where to begin with this. This is like the authentic taco thing all over again. I'm glad we have, you know,
Uh-oh.
we have deeply unimportant areas of disagreement, which I think that's what I treasure most about our friendship. We have
Yeah.
these we agree on so many big things, but when it
Yeah.
comes
But
to
the
these like
squabbles.
weird cul-de-sacs of culture, you and I couldn't be more different, which I actually find it delightful. It is
Okay.
delightful to me.
Well, good.
Here, you know what? I know where I'll begin. I finally got
You
artificial
got it.
intelligence
Got it coming.
to
All right.
to drop
Restarted it.
the conspiracy theory. Here we go. Jason Scott Lee.
Based on the available
Oh,
information, Jason Scott Lee appears to be doing well. Recent news and interviews show he has been actively involved in projects and interviews. He has
That's vague.
discussed his past roles, including his transformative experience playing Bruce Lee in Dragon, the Bruce Lee story, and has also talked about his more recent work, such as the film The Wind and the Reckoning, and his cameo in the live action Lilo and Stitch. He has
Whoa!
also spoken about living on a farm in Hawaii and enjoying being a father.
Oh,
sounds
makes one
nice.
of us.
Sounds nice.
Living on a farm in Hawaii, not enjoy being a father. I mean, I think we all
Well,
enjoy being a father. Well, hold on a
yeah.
second. I got one more thing to ask the Internet of Things, the biased woke AI here. It's like, hold on. Okay, so my buddy and I are talking about the movie, the Jason Scott Lee movie about Bruce Lee. I have not seen it recently, but I remember being a fantastic film. I love the fight scenes. I used to try to pretend to do martial arts by watching the fight scenes. But my buddy here, he says, you can just call him K. My buddy K here, he says that he rewatched it with his wife and that his wife, who actually does some martial arts, she didn't like it. And he agreed that it was corny, the action scenes. It's not a real fight that possibly could have happened, even though this thing is kind of a biography. It seems completely unrealistic. The fight scenes seem like orchestrated kung fu movies. I think it's okay to be that way. I think it's a movie, and I think the fact that he's playing Bruce Lee in this movie, that he did all these kung fu scenes that are completely unrealistic as well, by the way, makes it a completely nice, almost as a kind of meta statement, blending together the artist and the artist's story. What do you think? Settle this debate for us.
I understand why you and Kay have different views on the film. It's true that Dragon the Bruce Lee story takes some creative liberties with Bruce Lee's life,
That's kind.
especially in the fight scenes, to create a more dramatic and entertaining story. This is a common practice in biopics, which often blend fact and fiction to appeal to a wider audience. However, it's also understandable that viewers, especially those with martial arts experience, might
Okay.
find the exaggerated action sequences less believable. Ultimately, whether you enjoy the film depends on what you're looking for: a faithful portrayal of Bruce Lee's life, or an action packed, inspiring story.
Has there been a faithful depiction of Bruce Lee's life committed to film by any chance?
Dragon the Bruce Lee story is a popular film, but it's known for taking creative liberties and exaggerating events for dramatic effect. If you're looking for a more faithful depiction, you could explore documentaries about Bruce Lee's life, which often provide a more accurate and nuanced portrayal.
Yeah.
Do those accurate and nuanced portrayals show a scene of a gigantic demon samurai monster fighting him in a graveyard?
Most documentaries focus on factual events and wouldn't.
That's a no. That's a no. I think that's a no.
Yeah, I think so. And fair enough. Fair enough. I was just watching what's that biopic? It was a musical biopic, kind of about Johnny Cash, but it was a joke. Do you remember that movie?
Oh yeah, the one with John Riley.
Yeah,
And it also had Tim Meadows, where every time
the Dewey Cox
there's
story.
there's a scene where there's always the artist who walks into like drugs being done,
Yeah,
and it's like a foreshadowing, foreboding event where you're like, oh no, this is like Elvis. The first time Elvis tried quaaludes or drugs or cocaine or whatever, and there's that they had that scene multiple times during the movie where it was called Walk Hard.
yeah, right.
Uh,
Walk Hard.
there's a scene where John C. Reilly's character walks in on Tim Meadows and a bunch of people smoking weed, and he's like, "What's going on here? Don't do it, Dewey. This is wrong. It'll ruin your life." How
Right.
does it ruin your life? Do you can you OD on it? No, you can't OD on it. It's impossible. Yeah, but I mean, does it make you feel bad? It actually makes you feel amazing. You feel relaxed. You're even a little hungry sometimes. Oh wow, but it makes food taste terrible then I guess. No, it makes food taste amazing. But don't do it, Dewey. You
Right.
don't want any part of this.
That's
And
right.
then it happens again later with cocaine. And he's like,
Yeah,
"Oh,
no.
does it feel real bad? No, you feel amazing.
You
Oh, but
feel
I
great.
guess you can't have sex on it. No, it makes you people have sex all night long.
Well, I was
Don't
just
do it,
watching,
Dewey. You don't
I
want any
think
part of this."
yeah, I was watching something about it, and I don't know, it's some YouTube thing I got stuck on, and it was funny because they were like the folks who wrote it were so sick of these biopics, these music
Yeah.
biopics of Johnny Cash that
A
they
lot
were,
of them came out in succession, right? The
yes,
one with
exactly.
Joaquin Phoenix about
Yeah,
Johnny Cash, then Ray, right, with Jamie
right,
Foxx about
exactly,
Stevie
right.
Wonder, and then the different biopics that have been made
Yeah,
through about Elvis. Yeah, yeah.
exactly. Yeah, so I thought it was interesting because I think is it Riley? He said John Riley was saying that in all the interviews, he's like, "Oh, we're here to win an Academy Award," because that's really what the idea was: is that if you made these musical biopics, you would just get an Academy Award. It was just like automatically given to you. So, and so they would tug on the heartstrings, or these like,
Yeah.
"Oh, so amazing." So I did appreciate that they made this. Actually, there's a funny scene from that movie that I loved where, have you ever heard the song, what is it? Day in the Life? Yeah, Day in the Life. It's a great song, by the way.
I don't
Beatles.
know.
It's a Beatles song called Day in the Life. And it starts with I read the news today, oh boy. I read the news today, oh boy. That
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
song
yeah, yeah. I love that
goes
song.
into a
Yeah.
crazy, ridiculous orchestra of just like nonsense going on. And in the movie, Walk Hard, he does a whole scene of that with an orchestra, and it's just the most bizarre, wacky thing. So if you ever get a chance, watch that scene from Walk Hard.
I'll rewatch. That was a great movie. I like
Yeah,
that. Speaking of great movies, I do actually have to leave soon because
did you have a movie for me?
my wife and child, who I have a new appreciation for,
Hmm,
are outside right now doing movie night without me.
perfect. What is the movie?
I keep trying to pitch movie night. It's so funny. Like this family is like the Senate, and I keep trying to get legislation passed, and I haven't had a great track record. I'm married to like fucking Mitch McConnell over here,
So
and
they're
she
that
kind of
they're
gets
going
everything
against
she
it.
wants. She plays hardball all the time.
Okay,
I
but
don't
they're
know who
watching a
I am in
movie.
this Senate allegory. Can I pick any senator from any time period, or does it have to be
Let's
a
hear it.
contemporary of the one I picked my wife to be?
Yeah, let's hear it. Who are you? Are you an old one? Are you Seneca? No, it's not Seneca. Who's the guy from the ancient?
Yeah, yeah, there's probably a
Rather
bunch of.
prolific one.
That would be a funnier answer is to pick a Roman senator.
Yeah,
Um, as opposed to now, are there? I mean, does Rome have a senate anymore? Probably not, right? Probably just has a city council, something lame.
it does not. Yeah, Cicero. I was thinking maybe you're like Cicero. Um, yeah, I'm sure. Actually, Italy, you're talking about Italy. I think Italy is just a disaster right now in terms of politics. But
Yeah, actually, yeah. When I'm looking, so I do this thing where I always try to be funny no matter what, even when it's not appropriate or welcomed. And one of the go-to punchlines, you always have to be careful nowadays, depending who your audience is. You don't want to offend if you're trying to get a good laugh out of them. And so you
is
do
that
have to
true?
calibrate for the audience, right? Like there are
Yeah,
some audiences where it's almost a necessity to be a little racist.
yeah.
I am talking about Latinos and Black people. If you're ever doing jokes with them, then you're gonna have to be a little racist if
You
you want to
can't
get a
be
laugh.
too. Yeah, you can't
You're
be
gonna
too
have to.
funny.
But then when you're like around like white hipsters, No offense. You're just gonna have to kind of like calibrate it in very carefully.
Yeah.
You know, white guilt is a rich vein to mine. I have noticed. You can be like, oh, you mayonnaise sipping teetotaler. And they're like, oh, yeah, we're terrible, but we rule everything.
Well, yeah.
Um, but no,
No.
I have used often, and it always works. I don't know why. Even with Italians, man,
Hmm.
not Italian Americans. That's don't get me
Real
started on that.
Italians.
But I feel like you can. I think Italian Senate is a great punchline for like a lot. It's like another one of my go tos is like Turkish Bazaar. Depending on the audience, I might use the punchline Turkish whorehouse.
Hmm.
Like you walk in, there's like a perfume, and maybe it also smells like cardamom. And you're like, God damn,
Yeah.
it smells like a Turkish whorehouse in here. Or if
Have you
something is,
tried Turkish bathhouse? What is that? Is that too close to
I would
reality?
use that as a reference for like gay sex if I needed
Okay.
that. That's a custom
Because
punchline for
I
gay.
when I was one
I
time I
haven't
was
seen this many man-on-man hand jobs since I was at a Turkish bathhouse.
well, I was sick maybe a year ago and I was just feeling crappy, had a fever, and somehow I had this idea that I need to listen. I was like, I need to listen to some calming music, and so I find a playlist called Turkish Bathhouse. And I have to say, besides the references, it was magical. It was just magical. I felt
Yeah,
like I was
magical and
there.
relaxing,
Yeah, I felt
like
like I was there in the
a hand
bathhouse.
job is.
Exactly. Well,
Uh,
true.
So, Italian Senate is a good one. I have sometimes replaced that punchline with Galactic Senate if I feel the
Okay.
audience is nerdy enough.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, like, let me see if I can come up with a good one. I haven't, what's like a Roman Senate? Well, actually, you know what? I'm just realizing the thing I thought was the Roman Senate is actually the Taiwanese parliament. When a fight breaks out and everything is like just
Okay.
completely haphazard and going sideways and
All
fucked,
right.
and everyone's wearing suits.
Oh,
I'd be like, you know, what the fuck? Stop yelling over each other. What is this? A Taiwanese parliament? I don't know.
is that
Is that
true?
too
I don't
too
know that
esoteric?
is
Oh,
the Taiwanese
they're
Parliament quite
famous.
rated.
They're famous for having
Okay.
fights
Oh, good.
on camera
Wow.
in
Cool.
their
I appreciate
actual.
that kind of vivacious democracy. It's wonderful.
Yeah, so I feel like the Italian Senate falls
Yeah.
into this particular category. Although I recently came upon an even better joke, which was from a TV show. I forgot the name of the TV show. It's a new TV show, and someone says, "No more microwaving fish in the office kitchen. It smells like a mermaid
Oh.
gave birth in there." That's a good line, man. You ever hear something so funny? This is how my brain works. I hear, I like to make jokes, and I think I'm funny. I'm not a comedian, but when I hear a really good joke like that, I
Gotta
get
keep it.
the first thing I think is glee. I'm joyful. It's
Yeah.
funny. I love laughing at it. But the other thing I think is like, damn, I wish I would have come up with something like that. That's
Yeah.
such a funny line. But anyway,
Anyway, so you're losing the movie night vote, is that
yeah,
right? And does that mean you're losing what movie to watch, or are you losing just the fact that you want to have this thing?
there are the movie nights where I sponsor the legislation, and so I get to pick. But then it has to be a
Okay.
pick everyone will want to like actually watch
Uh,
because they're best. Their alternative to no to a negotiated agreement here is to not watch the movie with me, which they can.
God.
They can't force
Yeah,
them.
they could just do that.
Not in this
I'm
country.
also doing movie night. We haven't done it for a while, but
I love movie night,
it is fun, and I'm
but
trying.
the selection is key.
Yeah,
Making everyone happy. That's the hard part.
I think what most parents, at least maybe we'll say fathers, I could see this. I hear this more from fathers is that they are trying to inject their childhood movies into the movie night
Yeah,
against the will of their children, and
dude.
I'm absolutely guilty of that, and so I'll be
Ditto. We should do. That's the topic next week.
yeah.
I have it.
Um,
My both what was interesting. Both my wife and I have tried this. One of my favorite things about her is how mannish she is sometimes. I mean, speaking of a Turkish bathhouse, but yeah, we both tried this with drastically like different results.
wow.
Yeah, he
Was it?
wants. Okay, so this is a preview for next week. I love the Disney animated film Aladdin.
Yeah. Okay.
I used to
Classic.
love Robin Williams. He did the genie perfectly.
You did.
I was a romantic little kid. I was a little kid who so badly wanted romance because I watched all
Hmm.
these movies, and I thought it was a very romantic movie. and this diamond in the rough thing. That's how I felt. I was a fat little
Right.
kid that no one liked, and so I thought
Mhm.
I was the diamond. I mean, that's the whole
Yeah.
fucking point of the movie is
Good
that
point.
everyone feels like they're unappreciated for
Yeah.
being a scuzzy little fucking street person. But this movie was such a foundational part of like my
Cool.
emotional makeup and my personality. And so I thought, oh hey, I will show this to my son and he will get the exact
He'll
same
feel the
thing out of
same
me.
way. Yeah.
We're gonna have this beautiful little moment in which he looks at me dead in the eyes and he's gonna say, Dad, I feel everything you feel. And I think that the world makes a little bit more sense now because I see it as you do. I thought that was gonna happen. It did not happen.
Hmm.
He got super bored halfway through the movie. Also, I forgot that the first half of the movie is like setup. I didn't realize that.
Ah,
I forgot it because it's enchanting. And then he
yeah.
asked us if Jasmine and Aladdin were brother and sister, and if
Oh,
he
maybe
asked us
he's
if
not
that's
paying
why they got
attention.
married. And he
He's
didn't
like,
even know that like the connotation is that they're fucking. He didn't even he
right.
saw them kiss and he still thought they were brother and sister.
How do you,
Also,
I
like
don't remember the part that says
I
they're
don't want to
fucking.
like editorialize or
Okay.
whatever, and I
Did they have kids
apologize
or
for this.
something? Is that why?
I
Is there a
apologize if this is
connotation?
offensive, but like,
Oh.
would he really have tried that hard to fuck his sister? Because that's what the whole movie is, by the way. The whole movie is. I mean, think about it. Zoom out
Yeah,
a little
that would
bit.
be.
The whole movie is him trying to fuck this lady.
Oh, is that right? Is that I don't remember that part. Why the
He
you mean just
gets a
be
genie to help him.
yeah.
That's how bad he wants to fuck this
But
lady, and he got
doesn't he just
real
want to
close
be
the
with
first night
her?
he met her too. Huh?
Doesn't he just want to be with her like romantically, or is it really is it
Yeah.
really sexual?
What did I say?
Yeah. He could just be a sweet version that, you know.
Oh, you mean like a love it and leave it? He just
Yeah,
wants to
love it,
have
leave
that,
it.
like he just wants to get
He
wet
wants to
and
be
then
in the
go off
friend
and move
zone.
on. Oh no, see that's the difference between me and you. When I say he's trying to fuck this lady so bad, to me it is romantic.
Oh, okay. All
When I
right. So
hear that,
romantic
I
fucking.
think
All right.
like to me that doesn't automatically mean he's gonna
Wham
like have sex
bang.
and leave. To
Okay.
me, he's gonna fuck her and it's gonna be great, and then he's gonna want to
Mhm.
be with her the rest of his life.
It's
That's
I'll
my
have to mark this
entire
episode
life.
as explicit, by the way.
That's how my life works. Is like
Yeah.
if it's good, I mean, if it's really good, they'll get married.
Now, what was your wife's pick, by the way, before we leave?
Oh, well, she thought my pick was not that bad. She's like, "Oh, I also like that movie because it's a
Hmm.
romantic. It's one of the romantic ones."
Yeah.
And when
Romantic
she grew
classic.
up, she was like, "This is like a romantic. Everyone want to be the princess. Whatever. What's her face?" Anyway, she thought it wouldn't fail. It failed miserably. What was the one she picked? I mean,
He
we've
could have
all
been a
had
little
like
young. He's only 5 though, so maybe he would like it when he's like
He was 6 when
7.
she was doing it.
He's 6?
We've both taken multiple shots on goal here on this particular subject. So she has tried 3 different times. She's been equally successful as I have. So what did
Hmm.
she show him?
Do,
The
do,
Lion King, I think. No, yeah, no, yeah. I forget. I'm gonna have to go back
okay.
and ask. But I remember thinking we both had like this rash of like competing,
Mm,
like dueling banjos. Like we're gonna get this kid to like what we like.
yeah.
And I did Robin Hood, the one with the foxes. Remember that one?
Oh, that was fun one. Yeah. That was
Ugh,
cute. He must have liked
that
that, right?
that movie sits at the core of who I am as a person. Like everything I am as a person is
Okay.
basically
On that
what that
one.
movie,
Okay.
Top Gun, me
Mm.
being the funny fat kid,
Do you remember The Sword in the
and maybe
Stone, by
like
the
two
way?
or three other things, and then that's who I am at the core.
Okay. Do you remember The Sword in the Stone? That was kind of that era as well. Remember
Oh
the movie one?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I was big into the Excalibur bullshit. It was amazing. Anyway. But speaking of pulling out,
Yeah,
uh,
let's do it. Let's
Excalibur
pull out of
reference, not a
this.
sexual reference.
Yes,
Um,
yes, yes. But it's been
uh,
great.
yeah,
It's been great just
every
listening to
you
you.
know, I think maybe you thought that us talking was an excuse to have a podcast, but for me, man, it's the opposite. For me,
There you go.
having a podcast is an excuse for us to
Yeah.
talk to each other
We're
every
just
week.
recording
I
it.
enjoy it. And I
Uh,
get like this is a much higher level discussion about life and being a dad and all these other things than I get during the week. Even though
good.
almost exclusively write about economics and politics, this is
Yeah.
still my favorite conversation of the week, besides the ones I have with my wife,
Of
obviously,
course,
because she listens to
those supersede. And I have to say, it does help me. It is helping me get off my mind off of the mundane, the worries, the doubts, which I seem to
Yeah.
be doing a lot these days. I think I'll get to a place where it's not, but right now is an
Well, I mean,
interesting patch for me.
I don't want
Not
to
as,
editorialize, but like I feel, I mean, you have real problems to deal with, but that's what makes life amazing. If you
yeah,
didn't have real problems to deal with, you'd be bored, and life would
that's a
be
good point.
pointless.
That's a very good
But
perspective.
also, I think, and I'm not talking about anything new, by the way, there is, since the advent of the industrial capital consumer culture, and this isn't a complaint. This isn't like I don't have a great idea to replace this. So it's not a complaint. I feel like you shouldn't complain unless you have an idea of how to make it better.
Hmm.
Um, but, and I love capitalism. Let's get that on the record right now. It's
Hmm.
amazing. I love consumerism. I love buying
Okay.
shit. Makes me feel
Hmm.
good. When I watch a
Okay.
commercial, I get my notepad. Anyway, the point is that I think there is, in any situation, right? In any status quo, I ask myself, who benefits from this, right? This is like that legal question, right? Who benefits from this? There is a massive industrial complex built around us feeling
Yeah,
worry, inadequacy,
that's a good point.
about us being worried about the current state of events. I don't mean like now, like this
Yeah,
year. I mean, whatever the year is, there's an industry,
right.
there's an economy built around getting you to pay attention to it. And the best way to do that, sadly for us, just going back to your, hug them as if they were going to die
Yeah,
tomorrow.
yeah.
The best way to get people to pay attention to shit is to either scare them or titillate them.
Hmm.
And so I feel like the more media, especially social media, because now it's targeted, which is the worst part.
Oh, yeah.
Because on TV, they're taking pot shots, right? Like, oh, you're watching Magnum PI. Okay, well, I'm going to put in a thing here about beer, maybe. Right
Right.
now, it's like, oh, KP Smith, uh, you watch this video about how AI has run amok, and you're whatever, a reformed woke hipster. So
Hmm.
now I'm gonna give you like this news that you're gonna consume like crazy about
Sure.
how the real deep state is actually opposing Trump, or whatever the bullshit is. I don't
Yeah.
know. Whatever sensationalist, like I'm gonna pull you where you're already leaning
Yeah.
anyway kind of thing
Yeah.
is. Now it's targeted.
It really does drive it hard into weird places. And I am consciously these days there's a device called Brick where you can like lock your phone up with an actual piece of hardware that you have to tap that we bought, and it's working. And then and so I'm limiting myself to 1 hour a day of that. And that's better
Mm.
than when I tried to go cold turkey, I just went back. But I'm at 1 hour a day, it locks itself up, and then I can sort of like, okay, that's right, I got to stop this. But it is hard, and I think we are in a new territory. Let's talk about that next time
Yeah, great
about the
topic.
children and what they are going to face growing up. I think we may have touched on this
Ooh.
before, but
Yeah,
it's damn
my wife and I
scary.
talk about this all the time,
Yeah,
man.
it's
All the time.
terrifying. What is the
Yeah,
future for our children?
that's
And
it.
what are they going to do? I mean, so let's get into that. That sounds fun.
Oof. This is
What
a
are they
good
going to
one,
do with
man.
their life?
This
This is
also touches upon like what I actually research and write about. So this is great.
good. All right, we'll talk it. All right, sounds good,
All right,
sir.
man. Ugh, so good.
Great
So
chat.
good. I'm gonna, you know
Mhm.
what? Hold on. I'm just gonna hug you.
Huggy time. There we go. I love it.
I
I
appreciate
can
your friendship,
feel,
Kim.
I can feel
Kay, give
the
me your man. Turkish bath. Sorry. I did it
yeah,
again. All right.
yeah,
I'm gonna,
you can't help it. All right, we'll see you next time.
yeah.
Take good care.
Bye, Kay.
Bye.